everybody. Well, the cool thing was even just like the people you would bump into. So like even like I've gotten to talk to Allen Iverson like after games because we're like backstage. I don't have any cool Michael Vick stories, but like even just the stuff with like even like a Usher, like the studio. So the way Jermaine's studio is you would think he has an A room, the main studio, then he has like a tiny little B room. This will also make sense why the money stuff I'm talking about. And then he has a full court basketball court that has the So Def logo in it. He has a locker room, a legit locker room. He has a game room with PlayStation or PlayStation 5, Xbox, all the kind of shit with the huge TVs, arcade games, all this kind of shit, pool table. Has offices in the front. Like, mind you, he's at the studio for years. What I'm getting at is there's 2 rooms for production in a studio that is the size of like. So it's more of like the lead. I feel like sometimes with him, the cool lifestyle, leisurely. Also, gotta respect this man. He made his first $1 million at 17. So it's like the game. He's always been making money. So I can see how it's just. And as a creative, you're like, you win some, you lose some. That's the game.
As the money fades, you think the studio's like. You go in there and it's like, damn, this shit look like it's 2003 in here. Still like the old
he does
shit
a good.
in there.
He does
like
a great job of keeping it up. Like that's what I'm saying. Good. I'm saying the full court basketball court. The average guy would have broken that down. That basketball court could be like 5 studios in itself or production rooms. So like, but because he had that stuff, I will say yes. Like we would be playing 5-on-5 games. Fucking Usher, Ludacris, Bow Wow, me, Chris Brown. Like you'd have these games. I got to hoop with Nate Dogg one time, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Iverson would pull up. Lou Will was always there because I was Bow Wow and Lou Will were really close friends, so I was always around. So it was like you were always just seeing random people because they would pull up. And
Who was the best basketball player from the artist that you've seen?
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown?
They all say that.
And then one of the coolest stories I have, and I'm sure you've heard the story of everybody who's hooped with him, playing basketball with R. Kelly.
Oh, wait a minute. See, I play basketball with R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I already know how this goes.
Yes.
I'll tell you my experience. You tell me if does this sound like yours. All R. Kelly, first of all, he has his security. Yep. They play with him. They only pass R. Kelly the ball.
It's practice.
That's it.
For R. Kelly.
That's it. He played at my park all the time. This motherfucker would pull up. His security guards, he would get next. R. Kelly only shoots the ball. That's it.
Shoots the ball. And he shoots from half court. And here's the even crazier part. And then if you even remotely touch him, it's a foul.
Every time.
Then he had these girls with him who, like, I guess they were on like pimp rules or some shit. So we were like, me and Bauer are like, yeah, young enough where we're still making asses of ourselves. So we're like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Try to talk to them. They won't talk to nobody. This whole time. And then and then R. Kelly, literally, nigga be under the basket for a layup. He stops, turns around, looks at Kels. Kels says, he throws the ball, half court. If he makes the shot, the girls go. And that is that. And I was like, this is crazy.
Same experience.
Real
narcissistic.
Just like tight. You got a nice tight entourage, that just supports him.
That's it.
Nice tight supporting entourage.
Yeah. You gotta love it.
They run tight.
He
runs a tight ship.
He runs a tight
love it.
They applaud.
Listen, playing basketball with R. Kelly is fucking hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Hilarious.
I mean, and he's not, he's a tall dude. He's not bad at basketball at all, but it's just the fact
None of the
like,
girls left messages like, please, slide messages in the bathrooms and shit. Please.
I don't want to clap anymore.
She's like, can you please stop clapping anymore? Can you and Bow Wow please stop talking to us? Please, I'm trying.
Literally. No, I'll tell you though, bro. Like, seeing all that stuff though, and I always tell people, I'm like, when I tell these stories though, it's more because I've seen some really cool shit, and when you see these things, and I think the impact it made on me more so than anything was, I had already done TV, had already had my shows. I've done some shit, cool.
Right.
But at 12 years old, fall into this life of seeing someone like Jermaine, who's a black man, seeing someone like Janet, black woman, Bow Wow's picking me up at 17 in his Ferrari, and I'm like 12, 13, and we're just like running around doing kid shit. It creates this world where I'm like, oh no, none of the, like, I can do all of these things. I see people who look like me who are doing all of these things. And I hang out with them. I see it. Even a lot of the people I even met in that era. Jermaine's first assistant, his name was Ray Romulus. He was the one driving me to school and stuff in the beginning when I first got out there. Ray went on to work for Def Jam, do all this kind of stuff. Ray is now one of the stereotypes. You know, who made 24 Karat Magic, and that's what I like. Right. And you see like all these people level up, and you go, right, and we all came from the same camp. You know who used to drive me to Hawks games for Jermaine? A guy named Scooter Braun. Ever heard of him?
Ooh. Is that the Taylor Swift manager?
Yes, he was an intern for Jermaine. He would drive me to Hawks games, and I saw Scooter all the time, talk all the time. Even to this day, if I see Scooter, it's Maestro. What's good? Because you weren't doing none of this shit. And you went so I've seen so many people build and grow, and I'm just grateful that I've seen a life that some people can only dream of. But also, it made me go, this is fucking dope. I want this.
Anything's possible.
What do I got to do to make this shit mine? I'm tired of being on other niggas' planes. I'm tired of being, in other people's situations. No. What do I have to do to make this mine? But I do know it's actually possible.
So during that time period, so you say 5-6 months that you were hanging out with Jermaine.
No, it was like a whole year.
A whole year.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half.
Did you produce any albums, any records?
So that first year, it was all just like more so development. So it was just
what is development? I just want to understand.
For me, it was like, for some, it was vocal lessons. Which stuff I was already doing in Chicago, but more vocal lessons. For me, it was like cool school, like swag school. So it was like, that's why they didn't mind me hanging out with Bow Wow all the time. That's why they didn't mind me, because it was like, yeah, you need to like learn how to be cool. Because I've always acted a lot older than my age, because I've always been on television. So like Bow Wow would be doing shit that even at that age I'd be like, this is kind of immature. but he was a kid. Like he really got to be like a kid in certain capacities. Also because he had the money, so he could do whatever he wanted. Whereas like with me, my parents, I got older parents. They real old school. If you watch any of my old videos, it's yes sir, yes ma'am. It's none of that shit that was cool in the
right.
So part of that was just he wanted me like in the life, just being around people, seeing the stuff, dressing a little different. But kind of its development is kind of like.
So you didn't make one fucking record the whole year?
Not that year. So then I got sent back home for being bad, right? And then that is when I walk into the audition for The Wire, do all that kind of stuff. And then after I shoot The Wire, then I get flown, because I got some relevancy, I get flown back to Atlanta.
Okay.
At 15, 16. And that's when I had my MTV, my Super Sweet 16. Okay. So like they had Def Jam throw it for me. It was like, oh, he going to have an album coming out, all this kind of shit. We cut like 2 records. Mind you, it wasn't like you just cut records and upload them like you did now. Right. It's like he's supposed to have an album and all these kinds of things. We probably Jermaine ate through that budget. I ran through the budget, and he ended up getting fired from Def Jam because he was under L.A. Reid at the time. He gets fired from Def Jam. He ends up moving on, going somewhere else. I was still at Def Jam, and then I ended up getting released. So it was one of those things like nothing ever. Yeah.
So close.
But I'm not mad at it, only because I was supposed. Okay, what they were selling was I was supposed to be like a little.
You have to play Monopoly with Janet Jackson.
Yeah, I was supposed to be like a Little John Legend. That's what they were selling. So I would sing, play the piano, do that whole thing.
I totally heard something crazy for a second. I was like, Little John. I was like, hold on.
Wait, what?
Wait, hold on. Okay. Little John Legend. I was like, wait a second.
But yeah, so they were trying to make me that, which was cool, but also.
Okay, so I thought you was rapping. No, full on singing.
Singing and playing piano. So the era though that was coming too is like the only people who were cracking in that era. I remember in those days, I was there for Usher and Chris Brown having a conversation.